If you blinked, you might have missed it. One quiet photo, one short clip, one smile that looked different somehow. And suddenly, the internet froze. Because nobody expected this to be the moment everything changed for Jelly Roll. Not after the pain he's carried. Not after the years he spent being counted out. And definitely not after the way the world used to talk about his body like it was a punchline instead of a battlefield. But here we are, staring at a story that feels almost unreal. A story where weight loss didn't just change how he looks, it cracked open the door to a dream gig people said he'd never touch. And the part that's haunting fans tonight is this simple question: why did it take him changing his body for the industry to finally say yes? Before we get to the headline everyone's fighting over, you need to understand where Jelly Roll came from, because this didn't start with a diet or a gym membership. It started years ago, in a place most success stories conveniently skip. Long before sold-out shows and viral clips, he was a kid who felt like he never fit anywhere. Not in school, not at home, not even in his own skin. He's been painfully open about that. The addictions, the arrests, the moments where he honestly didn't think he'd live long enough to see 30. Music wasn't a career back then. It was survival. Writing lyrics was the only place he could tell the truth without being judged. Or so he thought. When his music finally found its audience, it wasn't because he looked like a star. It was because he sounded like someone who understood pain. Someone who sat in the dark with you instead of preaching from the light. Fans didn't just listen to Jelly Roll. They leaned on him. They saw themselves in his body, in his struggles, in the way he talked about food, addiction, and shame like they were all tangled together. He became proof that you didn't have to be polished to be powerful. And for a long time, that felt like enough. But behind the scenes, something ugly kept happening. While fans praised his honesty, the industry whispered. Meetings ended with vague compliments. Opportunities stalled without explanation. He'd hear things like, "not right for the brand," or, "maybe later," or the one that hurt the most, "we love your talent, but," and he knew what came after that, but. It wasn't about his voice. It wasn't about his songwriting. It was about how he looked standing next to other stars. So when Jelly Roll quietly started losing weight, fans noticed immediately. At first, it was subtle. A slimmer face, a different posture, a little more energy on stage. He didn't make a big announcement. No dramatic before and after posts. No sponsorships. Just work and honesty. He talked about wanting to live longer for his wife. Wanting to breathe better on stage. Wanting to stop hurting. And fans cheered him on, mostly. Because here's where the internet split right down the middle. On TikTok, people started posting side-by-side videos. Old clips next to new ones. Some cried happy tears, saying they felt inspired. Others sounded angry, almost betrayed. Why does he have to change to be accepted? One viral TikTok asked, racking up millions of views. On Twitter, the tone turned sharper. Threads popped up accusing the industry of fat-shaming him into transformation. People argued back and forth, typing in all caps, asking if health improvements should ever be criticized. Over on Reddit, the conversations got deep and raw. Fans shared personal stories about weight, addiction, and how watching Jelly Roll change brought up feelings they weren't ready to face. And right in the middle of that noise, something happened that nobody was prepared for. The call came. Not a rumor. Not a, maybe someday. A real offer. The kind of gig Jelly Roll had openly admitted he never thought he'd get. A dream role. The kind that puts you in front of a whole new audience. The kind that reshapes your legacy overnight. And suddenly, the weight loss wasn't just a personal journey anymore. It was being tied directly to opportunity. This is where the story gets complicated, and honestly, kind of heartbreaking. Because when news broke that Jelly Roll's transformation helped land him this dream gig, fans didn't just celebrate. They questioned everything. Was he rewarded for getting healthier? Or was he finally deemed marketable, now that he took up less space? And let me ask you something that's been haunting comment sections everywhere: if he hadn't lost the weight, would this call ever have come? Here's the first layer people aren't talking about enough. Jelly Roll didn't lose weight to chase fame. By his own words, he did it to survive. To feel better. To stop waking up in pain. But the moment the industry attached opportunity to his body change, the narrative shifted. What was once a personal win became public property. Fans started dissecting his every appearance, every outfit, every angle, like his body was now part of the performance. The second layer cuts even deeper. This gig wasn't just any job. It was symbolic, a stamp of approval from an industry that once ignored him. And that's why it hurt so many people. Because it felt like proof of what fans feared all along. That talent wasn't enough. That vulnerability wasn't enough. That even someone as real as Jelly Roll had to physically transform to unlock doors that should have been open years ago. Now here's the part that truly broke the internet. Jelly Roll himself addressed it. Not defensively, not angrily, but with a kind of tired honesty that made the room go quiet. He admitted he knew his weight had cost him opportunities. He said it out loud. And in that moment, thousands of fans said they felt something crack inside them. Because hearing it from him made it impossible to deny. Half the internet rallied harder than ever. Good for him, they said. He earned this. Others felt sick. Why did he have to change to be worthy? They asked. And if you were scrolling late at night, phone glowing in the dark, you probably felt pulled in both directions at once. And this is where I want to pause for a second and talk directly to you. Have you ever felt like you had to change something about yourself just to be taken seriously? Have you ever wondered if the world would treat you differently if you looked different? Because that's why this story is hitting so hard. It's not just about Jelly Roll. It's about all of us. Right after that emotional wave hit, this channel saw something incredible. Thousands of new viewers showed up not just for the news, but for the conversation. And if you're here right now, feeling all of this with us, this is the moment where I say it quietly but honestly, make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications. Not because of numbers, but because these are the stories that matter. These are the conversations we don't want to miss when they happen in real time. Now let's peel back the third layer, because this one changes how you see the whole thing. Sources close to the situation hinted that the gig wasn't officially offered until after executives saw him perform post-weight loss. Same voice, same emotion, same storytelling, but suddenly, they saw longevity. They saw brand partnerships. They saw mainstream appeal. And whether they meant to or not, that says something uncomfortable about how the business still works. The fourth layer is where Jelly Roll's fans surprised everyone. Instead of abandoning him or turning cold, many doubled down on their support. They flooded his pages with messages saying they loved him at every size. That his worth never changed. That the industry's approval didn't define him. Some even said watching him win despite the unfairness gave them hope. Hope that you can play the game without losing your soul. But the final layer, this is the one nobody saw coming. The dream gig itself wasn't about image at all. It was about impact. About reaching people who needed his voice. And Jelly Roll knows that. In a private moment caught on camera, he reportedly said something that stopped even critics in their tracks. He said he didn't lose weight to be accepted. He lost weight so he could stay long enough to tell his story. And if the world finally wanted to listen, he wasn't going to apologize for taking the mic. That's the twist that changes everything. Because maybe the real shock isn't that weight loss opened the door. Maybe it's that after everything, Jelly Roll walked through it without changing who he is inside. Same honesty, same scars, same heart. So now I want to hear from you. Does this win feel empowering, or unfair? Should the industry be held accountable, or is this just how the world works? And if you were in his shoes, would you have done anything differently? This story isn't over, not even close. Because Jelly Roll's journey is still unfolding, and every step he takes forces the industry to look in the mirror. And whether they like what they see or not, one thing is clear. He didn't disappear to fit in. He showed up louder than ever. And that might be the most powerful part of all.